Recording is on.
Welcome everyone. This is Bitcoin Core App Design Jam session number 6, and our goal today is to detail out the onboarding for the second version of the application a bit further. So we've done here in my background, it's my workspace. Every designer has their own workspace with all kinds of explorations here, and we've done some, I think maybe 2.5 or 3 sessions on onboarding. And yesterday in the call, we talked about going through that from beginning to end and just not getting into the details, what about, button labels and whatnot, but just kind of loosely going through this whole sequence from first use and then, where people end up. And there's a lot of complexity, especially around wallet creation. Does that sound good to everyone?
Sounds great.
Okay, does everyone have access to the Figma file? Or can just
yeah, so what Figma file are we on? Oh, okay, I see it. I'm there.
It's the same one as usual in the Christoph workspace.
Cool.
Yes. So I would really just start talking basically through it from the beginning. Maybe we can spend, I don't know, a few minutes per screen because we probably have a lot of them. Or
yeah, sounds good.
Suggestions. Okay. Something with onboarding that I think is often forgotten is that people don't just magically have the application installed on their computer and start using it. They get some type of recommendation. They find a link somewhere. They use the bitcoin.org wallet finder. So then they end up somewhere at a website that might, here they become aware of it. And they decide what, this product might fulfill my needs. Then they go to the website where they read up a little bit, learn about the benefits. Maybe it's bitcoincore.org, maybe it's GitHub or so. And then, that's kind of where they make the decision that, yes, I want to move forward. So, their idea of the product and what it does, how it helps them, starts taking shape before they enter the application. Then they install it and run the application, and only then do they get into the application itself. And these screens here are at the flow below. That is what we currently have. This is version 1 for the node runner, in which after you're done with onboarding, all you do is look at the block log. That's all you can do. So of course it needs to change when we add a wallet. Starting with this screen here, which is kind of repeats the primary benefit, like what are you using this application for? And then this screen next to it is kind of primary feature, dives in a little bit deeper. So my guess would be that we'll create new versions of these, but we basically keep the same structure, like repeat the primary benefit, and then kind of point out features, and maybe node and maybe wallet, or maybe we'll have 2 screens, one for the node, the block log, and one for the wallet. Well, what are everyone's thoughts on that whole thing so far?
I think, yeah, so on the onboarding process, I'd probably put wallet after the block clock, just because when you think about it, people will primarily, or it's kind of like an idea that people primarily run this for the node and secondary for a wallet. I mean, there's a lot of better wallets, but if you choose to use the GUI for a wallet, then you can do so. And so for that reason, I'd probably put it after the block clock.
And then that is purely informational. That's really just before you get into the details. It's pure information.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wallet.
And by better wallets, I mean like a hardware wallet, right?
No wallet is better than this one here for what it's meant to do.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So wallet info. Then we So this is what we had. We have a bit of information, which is static. And then we have the interactive bits, which are about customizing your experience. I assume those will not change, right? The wallet doesn't really add or remove anything from this.
And I guess just to point out there, and I guess my previous statement on there being better wallets is kind of null. So you can either store keys on this, or you can interface with the hardware wallet. And of course, we would love to express that.
Yeah, I think let's add a note here. So this could point out that support for different wallet types, that's one of the things that could be pointed out. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you could point out. Privacy things. So in terms of the configuration, so the storage now, I think the thing that gets added is the wallet location, right?
So no, actually, so the wallet is stored within the storage location.
The wallet.dat files, the ones that you have to.
Yeah, if it has keys, then that's on there. If it doesn't have keys, there's still that journal that's in that same location. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, a storage location. And this is downloaded block data, and it's probably and wallet data, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there might be small text changes. We'll have to do that. Timer. Also storing wallet data. Storage amount, that doesn't really change. I mean, wallet dat files, they're pretty small, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very small.
Mm-hmm. And then this is something where I'm not sure what we do. We could tell people the initial download is starting, but it's not like we throw them right into it. We could start it in the background while they're setting up their first wallet, where we don't really draw much attention to it.
So we can. I think that just involves kind of like changing a couple of things, because at least for now, we don't actually initialize the node until you've gotten into the next screen. And so it would just kind of be at this screen, we do initialize it. At that screen, so at starting initial download, there's connection settings that can be changed.
Yeah.
So maybe we wouldn't want to start it there, because once we initialize the node, we can't change any settings.
Yeah, and let's say, do I ever want to have a different setting based on what type of wallet I use?
In terms of the node, no. Now, in terms, there's one consideration here in general for the wallet, and that is if you are, and so there's two things here. We would want to put a note again for in the wallet screen we just added that you could also import a wallet, and then that raises the consideration where if you're running a prune node and your wallet. Oh, well, never mind. Because if you're starting from the beginning, you will keep the UTXOs. So no, there's no consideration then.
Okay, so it's not like, okay, what type of wallet you want, and then based on what you just choose, we recommend this type of node setup or that type of node setup. That's not a thing.
No, there wouldn't. No.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, so we could leave this here and say, well, now the initial block download is going to start. It's going to go in the background, and you're not going to see wallet balances until it's done or something like that. We could leave that here. Maybe we'll put it somewhere else. But because it's an unexpected thing that this is going to take 12 hours or so, then we should have something in the onboarding that lets people know that it's not going to work right away.
I think so, for things like Raspberry Pis, it is something like 12 hours, right? But since this is a GUI being run, let's say like on a desktop, and if you have a decently powerful desktop and laptop, really it's like 4 hours, which I don't think like is such a big deal. But we always want to let them know like this could be a very long journey. Also, depending on your internet connection.
Yeah, I mean, still 4 hours is just something people still don't expect.
Right.
I cannot do anything for 4 hours. But I mean, I guess when people download PlayStation games or something, sometimes they get a brand new game and there's only 5 gigabytes of download or so. But yeah, it's still a good thing to have in there. But
Yeah.
the location, I don't know, it might be earlier, it might be later, not quite sure. And then we have to transition into them either adding or creating a wallet. Otherwise, or if they want to, they could also just use the node, right? They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. So if they grab the binary off the website, it'll have the wallet. But of course, you never have to create a wallet. And again, it can be compiled without a wallet support.
Correct. So we could give people the option and say, hey, do you want to create a wallet? Or we have to somehow elegantly make that transition over from the settings into whatever the next step will be. I mean,
one more thing, I guess. We will start the block download in the background, but there should be an option for user as well to see how much of it has been downloaded, so that they don't feel anxiety like after 2-3 hours that what's the progress of downloading.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. By the way, I was spinning up an Umbrel on my Raspberry Pi, and it took a month.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's a little longer than usual.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could also disconnect. I think progress is absolutely needed here.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop you from wallet creation, right? So something like this probably makes sense. Okay, probably add, because you don't want to. It can be create or import, and then people can either skip that and they just don't have a wallet. They just have the node, or they can create one, or they can import one, and then we take them down different flows.
So if we do this, it would just be, okay, so after we click next from starting initial download, then the next screen, that starts the node. And so like it initializes the thread and everything. And then we'd probably want some little progress to signify that IBD has started, because that can be intense on your computer. And so you might wonder, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
I just had an idea, Christoph. Like, what about having a floating bar of how much progress has been done in the block download on each page till the block download is completed, and then there could be a simple message as done, and then the progress bar would go away.
It just draws a lot of attention to it, And let's say, how long does it take to set up a wallet? 3 minutes?
Very quickly. It could be, it could be 10 seconds.
So the progress bar will basically be 0 the whole time, because let's say it takes 4 hours, and how much is 10 seconds or 3 minutes of that?
Yeah, I mean, it takes more than 10 seconds to establish your peers.
Yeah.
Yes. But then what? Either we have to clearly mention that you can create the wallet, but you can't actually use the features of it because you are not going to get the balance of or get the information about it.
Mm-hmm.
So either we have to mention that in the meantime you can create the wallet, this kind of language in which it's like a pre-set up process before start after the IBD has been downloaded, so that the work would be reduced. Or we have to keep a progress bar, something like that. That until this is completed, you can't do anything.
Yeah. Totally. I think we need both of it. We need to let people know ahead of time, and then people are going to skip it, whatnot. Then they're ready. They've set up their wallet, and then we still have to tell them, okay, you're almost ready there. Just need to wait a little bit. Thank you for your patience. If you'd like to manually compute some hashes, it'll be faster. Here you go.
Sorry, I just had a question here. This wallet screen over here, this one here, is that
Sorry, which
where would
one?
the create wallet come in? Would it be here or would it be here after the storage location?
So the way it's structured right now is we have informational screens. So this would be part of the informational screens. Then we have settings screens,
Okay.
and then we go into the choosing your own adventure screens. Like this is now up to you at the end with what you want to do. The ones before them are linear, and the reason why we added this block log one specifically was because it's such a unique thing that doesn't exist in any other wallet.
100%. Yeah.
And because you download an application and all you can do is look at it, right? Doesn't seem that amazing to a lot of people. So we decided to have this info screen, but we may not. I don't know. We'll have to. You can revise.
I mean, there's only currently 4 educational screens. That's not so bad, I think. I mean, I don't know. Depends.
I was thinking maybe. I mean, the first 6 screens are basically 2 steps in the process, right? One is basically the first 3 are kind of a product tour, and the other ones are the initializing of the node. So,
yeah.
And for me, it was not entirely clear from the progression what belongs to which. But actually, you start doing something on the 4th screen here. So maybe we could kind of distinguish the tour from the setup. Actually, I mean it's still part of the same flow, but it's different purpose.
Would we?
Yeah. Go ahead. I was just going to say, I'm always a fan of interactive onboarding screens where it's not just read a bunch of text, read a bunch of text, read a bunch of text, and that sometimes works. With the block log, it just doesn't work because there's nothing you can do. You can't turn that into an action. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Or the IBD warning, like there's nothing you can do. It just tells you like, hey, you're gonna have to wait. It's gonna take some time. Okay.
Would we maybe add in a screen state, letting them know the time that it's going to take for initialization, or would we just put that as some information on the screen?
Well, they don't know that until it has started, connected to some peers, and kind of figured out how quickly it can get data and how quickly it can process data.
Yeah.
So it does not know that right away.
Okay. So we cannot provide a screen that says this is how long it's going to take.
You can say on an average it takes around this much time, but it depends on the number of peers. Now, when the IBD starts and we can show the block log, there is a information that how much time is going to take on an average to complete this block down.
Yeah. So but I think that comes here. Like we'll get to that over here, where
I think this if somebody skipped the wallet creation, it should directly jump to the block log, or at least with an information, it will directly jump to the block log.
Yeah.
Yashraj, you wanted to speak?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I was about to actually suggest exactly what Shashwat did, right? Because I love the block log, and it could be used to signal the progress of the IBD. Yeah, but yeah, that takes up a whole separate screen. So yeah, we want to be cognizant of that. And I just wanted to quickly mention that the existing Bitcoin Core app, it looks really archaic, but the status bar at the bottom, that is one of my favorite aspects of the existing app, because I can see that what's my currency, do I have a wallet, am I connected to the network, I love seeing that because very often that is the only thing. Like I don't go to the node very often, but when I do, I just see if I'm connected, and then like everything's okay, so I can go on with my life. And that status bar also, if I'm not wrong, it also shows how much of the IBD is done when I'm syncing for the first time. So I think an element similar to that might be useful. I don't know.
Great, thank you. Um, and so kind of staying on this though, Christoph, with the so we've added next to the IBD screen, you added like a sort of a copy where you could go back, skip, and create a wallet. Actually, we wouldn't want that type of screen because there's no point in going back after your node initializes. So if you went back, why? It would maybe be to change some connection settings, but you can't, right? And so above this screen, we have the type of screen we had before, or you just added now, where at the top you have a menu bar, and remember we talked about this sort of mini block clock, which is this yellow element. I guess my cursor, you guys can see my cursor there. That's great.
Yep.
And so we talked about this being sort of a mini block clock, and that can show the IBD progress. And so I guess if you were to click it, it shows the block clock. Now the thing to figure out is if you don't want to create a wallet, then we maybe need some sort of button here, like just show me the block clock or something like that.
Yeah, you mean that it defaults to the block clock?
Yeah, so either it can default to the block clock or it can be create wallet. It's just then that we need something that's like, no, I don't want to make a wallet.
I think a skip would work. Skip tab.
Yeah. I mean, that's the question, right? That's what I meant earlier by how do we make this transition? This here is a custom screen that looks like onboarding, and this here is already, you have your navigation bar at the top. You're basically in the application. You're just looking at an empty state, empty screen that says, well, that would list your wallets eventually, and then has a loader message at the moment. And this can be way more elegant and interesting, right? I think that was the main thing. Do we throw you into the UI and you explore on your own, or do we still show you another one of those?
It is an interesting thing. I think I think a lot about how the current GUI works, and the current GUI, it would be we throw you into the UI and then you make a wallet. And so maybe we would want to move away from that, but my head kind of stays in that pattern, right? I think the only contention I'd have with sort of mimicking the onboarding screen is just remove back, because we can't go back. And so then it becomes this kind of like overlay over the UI where it's like, oh, well, do you want to make the wallet now? No. And so you click skip. Okay, now you're thrown into the main UI.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a small decision whether you use this one or this one. I think either way could work. But we're about halfway through. Do you want to continue through the create wallet flow?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, sure.
So obviously some unresolved things here. Please go ahead.
About the mini block clock, after the block download has been completed, the bigger block clock shows timing of the blocks mined in the last 12 hours, right? So what this mini block clock would be showing after the downloading has been completed?
Let me fly around here for a second. So I think that's a little bit still of a TBD. The different states. Okay. Right now we just have this one icon. That's it, and we can decide whether we want it to have different colors to reflect the network we're on, or whether we use colors to indicate whether it's loading or stuck or up to speed or up to date, or we can figure out what we want this to be. That's not defined yet.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, hopefully, clearly, Yashraj, you mentioned that you love being on top of things, and ideally we can also come up with a nice little component that you take a quick glance and you just know where you're at, and hopefully hopefully everything's good. So the next thing is then, well, you decide to either import a wallet, in which case I think you would just have a thing that says select a file picker, right?
For import wallet, yeah, I'd bring up the operating system file picker, and then you can choose a wallet backup. Yeah, I think it would actually have to be a wallet backup.
And let's say you pick that file. Do we just throw you in the UI and says, okay, here's your wallet? Or do we need to evaluate and say, well, this is like a legacy wallet, you should update it, or your node is not up to speed, you need to refresh from, I don't know, like what stuff needs to happen? Do we need to tell people about what was imported?
100%. I mean, so for example, there's a couple of things, and actually Andrew Chow is kind of polling the community for what should be done, but there would be two considerations here. One is that the wallet is a non-HD wallet, and it was created many years ago with an older version of Core, and you're importing it into the wallet. Do you want that converted into HD? And also into SQLite, because it would have been a BDB database, which is just internally it's different journaling. So the two considerations would be like moving it into an HD chain, but keeping those keys, but also moving into an HD chain, and then moving from BDB to SQLite, which really just means we can simplify that by saying, do you want to convert this into a descriptor wallet? And I think that's easier than saying we're going to change the internal database of your wallet from BDB to SQL.
Harold, what do you think about giving a kind of info about what descriptor wallet is? Is that needed, or should we directly ask the question to user?
Wait, what?
Like, is it? Do you think it should be explained to the user that what descriptor wallet means before telling them that do you want to convert it to descriptor wallet?
I mean, if we can figure out like a very good explanation. The thing is, though, that it will be mandatory at some point when we fully deprecated BDB. It will be mandatory to at least change the journaling to SQLite, but it might not be mandatory to make a descriptor. But I think HAO still has to sort of figure that out internally on the wallet. But by the time we're really releasing this GUI, it will be the case, right? And so that we have to incorporate that into the design. So for now, the plan is to allow the user to do this themselves, right? Because I think it's scary to auto convert it. Now, if they click cancel, I'll have to go back to HAO and ask them about this, but if they choose not to, then they might not be able to import it into the wallet.
Okay.
And
but I'm okay. More continue.
Yeah, just a question here for this third screen state in create wallet. Then we've got one for detailed settings over here. And we have two detailed settings. Do you guys feel that that's like an addition that we need there for the detailed settings, or do you think that could possibly be somewhere else?
Okay, let me see.
It's an additional screen state here.
Yeah, I think I should sort of map out every possible iteration of how you could make a wallet. And this, it might not be necessary for the detailed settings to have it, because I think it wouldn't, I think it'd have nothing there really. that we couldn't have elegantly in just the top dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I was actually asking the question about the word descriptor, because for a general user, the word descriptor might be a little alien to them. So, should we explain to them that what kind of change is going to happen once you click that button before telling them that do you want to convert to a descriptor wallet?
Yeah, I mean, education is important there. Now, how do we describe? Nothing is really changing in terms of their keys or anything like that. It just has to do with how the wallet itself keeps track of UTXOs it can spend. And with descriptor wallets, it's going to leverage Bitcoin script to keep track of the UTXOs it can spend. And so we can try to think of sort of a simple explanation, but
Yes,
yeah.
I think that's needed because what you just explained to me, I can't imagine a layman person to understand.
But that's the thing, like
Like
it
in a
doesn't
1 month.
change, it doesn't change really anything. It's just how a wallet software will keep track of what coins it can spend. But it doesn't
True,
change
true.
anything in relation to your keys or the chain of the keys that will be created. It's just how the wallet software will keep track of the coins it can spend.
Right. But the point is that if we are gonna give a user a choice, uh, there is it's our responsibility to educate them that what is gonna happen once you click that button. Like we
Yeah.
can explain to them that it doesn't gonna change your experience, but in the background these changes are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, the question is how relevant the details are, right?
Yeah.
So if
But
the right amount of or the right information density
Mhm.
is yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at
Megan,
here.
I
This
would
is
actually.
how Moon updates users to Taproot. There's explanation about it, makes it more private and cheaper fees, and then it guides you through
Yes.
things. So, yeah, we totally need to guide people through this stuff, and that's exactly why we're going to end up with about 5,000 different screens in this application, and we're going to have to spend a lot of time copywriting and discussing words.
All the
Yeah.
best to us.
Okay, so let's keep it top level. So here's like there's import stuff. You choose a file. Either it works and you're fine, something needs to be done, or it doesn't work. And there's another whole flow there to detail out. For wallet creation, just real quick, top level. I think the latest status is that for version 1, we're going to support single sig, view only, and multi-sig, or was it
Yeah,
external?
that was the one.
What's it multi as well?
Yeah. Those are good.
And that's multi-sig without external signers then. So that means PSBTs.
I mean, okay, so we are at what screen are we on? I mean, we would just support hardware wallet right away because it's free to do so. Like, that's the support we have is just the external signer script. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not totally free. We'd have to design all those screens and flows and implement them and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
But I was just curious if we're saying we're not going to do external signer and we allow you to do multi-key, then then it has to be like multi-sig without hardware wallets.
Right. Yeah.
Because then means you have to export and import PSBTs, and that's the only way it will work.
Well, I mean, one of the keys can be on an external signer, right?
But if we say we don't support that, then
Yeah, because with the PSBT, it's like the way around the script. So, like with PSBTs, you don't need the script. Yeah.
so more specifically, direct communication between the application and external signers.
Right. Yeah.
So indirect, it's fine. You just kind of copy paste files around. But direct communication, where the wallet says, "Please plug in your thing," you plug it in, and it says, "Well, thank you for plugging in your thing. We're gonna sign this now."
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Just a question here for the create wallet user flow. Would we then have an additional screen for the file picker when they would Import wallet, no, we wouldn't, because those would be these ones here. Because now we've got import wallet, it's just a small thing. We have import wallet on this one here, and we have it on this one here. So I guess we would remove it in this one.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we can decide whether we want to have this type of screen where we show all options at once, or whether we bridge people in two directions, create and import here a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, cool.
That's something we can decide. Okay, let's start with the most basic one, which is view only. So for view only, okay, so general question first. And Shashwat, this is something along what you mentioned earlier. Before somebody creates a wallet, should we tell them, like, this is the wallet you're about to create, this is what it means, this is what you need to have ready, right? So, because when you have set up a single sig, then you don't need to do anything, right? It's just you click a button, that's it. But if you do a view-only wallet, you need to have an XPub ready. If you set up multi-key, you might need to. People need to be aware that they need to have their hardware wallets ready.
Yes. And also, should we provide a kind of a recommended tab in any of the wallet, or doesn't make sense and it's just a random idea?
You mean what type of wallet people should use, or
no? Like if there are 4 options, say single sig, view only, and multi-sig. Say there are 3 options, right? Now, should we give something like for a? No, it doesn't make sense. Like I was kind of going in the gaming terminology, like for a beginner, play in the normal mode. For an expert, play in this mode. So no, that doesn't make sense with the wallet, right? If you want a multi, you have to work with the multi-sig. Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's really about what you want to do.
Yes.
Your use case. Yeah.
I was thinking it like easy difficulty, medium, hard difficulty. These 3 options. So.
Yeah, I like the way that it's described on the Bitcoin design guide with, shared wallet, or kind of these more use case based descriptions. That's nice.
Yeah, it's interesting because multi-sig, you could split it in 2. Either it's your personal multi-sig, or it's a shared wallet, collaborative custody, in which you still, under the hood, you kind of do the same thing, but the one just requires coordination between multiple people, and you might not call it device 1 and 2. You might just be person 1 and 2, and you might give them names or so. So there's you could argue that those should be on the front end. They should be 2 different experiences.
Yeah. And when you mentioned that, when I look at these 4 options here, then probably the import wallet could be a step ahead, where you say, I have a wallet, or I want to create a new one. And when you say create a new one, then you would have these only 3 options.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
Yeah, that's this one here.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just going to remove this one here then. Okay, so Gerald, I have a question about the view only.
Yeah.
So all you enter is an XPub, right? That's it.
Well, you can enter an extended public key or just a regular address, right? And you can watch either. Yeah.
Okay. The XPub, or everyone know what an XPub is?
It's like an Excel document, something like this.
It is.
So, like, when you make an HD wallet, there's okay, maybe you don't know, but there's an extended private key and extended public key, and from this, you're going to derive all child addresses, right? And so when you click create new receive address, you're creating a new address from this chain. The extended public key lets you get to those same addresses without putting in the private key, right? And so if you put in your XPub from, let's say, your hardware wallet, you can just watch the addresses that can be generated from your hardware wallet within the GUI.
Yeah. So an extended private key can create addresses and spend from them? an extended private key can only create addresses. So it's great for, you have your cold storage somewhere, and you want the private key to be only on there on your hardware wallet or so, and hide it somewhere. But you can still see whenever something gets deposited on those addresses without exposing the keys that control them. So it's very, very handy.
For example, like you want to make sure the funds on your hardware wallet haven't been stolen, and so you just keep a paranoid look on the GUI with your Xpub.
Our notifications
Right.
also, very handy. I use it. It's amazing. No, it's cool that that type of stuff exists. So that's it. You enter an XPub single address. And we might add some info on here when it validates it. And then you probably need a name, but there's no password needed, right? Or is there a need for a password?
So technically you can really encrypt just about anything. No. I think if we don't have keys, we're not going to encrypt. So if there's no keys, we're not going to encrypt it. And of course you can give it a name, yeah.
Okay. And that might even go on the same screen, name and XPub, and that's it. Could be a decision too. And then it says your wallet is ready. You'll now start scanning addresses for your balance. It'll take 5 years, something like that. And there's no need to worry about backup or a test transaction. That's very straightforward.
Yep.
Then when you get into single sig, again, we have this information here, but I think it'll also be very minimal. A little bit more warnings because you're going to control it. But there are no settings for you to do. You can enter a name and a password, right? There's nothing else.
Sorry, I was muted. No, there's nothing else.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. We have I think this is the... Okay, yeah, here's a little bit more. Okay, here's like some sample copy. I think Mo and you and I came up with that in our session, right?
I'm not sure. Yes, I'm a little bit confused. Is this, so this one here that we're looking at, this flow that Christoph is on now, it's create wallet, and this is for the regular flow.
Yep.
And then the one up here at the top near the, just this one above, view only, these ones here, which type of flow is this? Or was this the initial iteration?
The one at the top?
Yeah, this one here, just here at the top.
Oh, that's for import.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is importing this top line here. Okay.
Just to confirm.
Oh, hold on. Are we looking at the same ones?
No, I think they are the same. I think they are the same.
Correct. They're the same. Yeah.
It's the
Depends
same.
on where you start. It's just a different starting point.
Yeah. So this is an older iteration. After we did this one here in one call, the one that's in my background, and then you and I had another session where we took the top row of this and then fleshed it out further.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to clean that up. This file, it's getting really messy. And something that we saw was that when you choose to encrypt to add a password, I think the toggle was encrypt wallet, which we thought was not very helpful, so we changed it to protect wallet with a password. Then there are 2 warning signs because you need to protect, remember the password, otherwise you lose access to your coins. And then we were also wondering if it should tell you what the wallet file should be called. But basically, this wallet has a few more options. View only wallet has almost nothing. This one has the password options. Then serious warning, then it creates the wallet. And then the other question was, do we need to force people or give them the option to do another backup? They might say, yeah, I also want to back this up to my USB stick or something. Or, and do we invite them, let's say, to make a test transaction?
They can back it up. And of course, we should do that. A test transaction, it's kind of iffy, right? I mean, they could do a transaction to themselves, right?
Yeah, just deposit some. Like instead of depositing, all their Bitcoin right away, they could deposit a small amount, make sure it works, delete the wallet, import it again, that type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so for example, like if we clicked make small initial deposit, then we could show like a QR code with an address, right?
Yep.
And then they could move some, yeah. Or they can skip. And so I think that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really just about how explicit. We never want to force people through this because they might just not be in a time or place to do that at the moment. But just showing them that it's there, invites best practices.
Yeah.
But it's just, if we do all of these extra things, we really end up with an insane amount of screens.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was just noticing in the user flow that I had backup over here. We're not going to, we do have backup here. Let's back up your wallet. Okay.
And that's really just saving a file.
Yeah.
You make another copy of that file.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then afterwards, your wallet is ready, but it's empty. So you can't even do anything with it other than receive, generate an address. It's the only thing you could do. So we have to figure out where we land after this one. Could be the receive screen.
I mean, that's what I like is that it actually nudges you to to proceed. It kind of keeps you going. But I mean, maybe the last two screens could be one, right? Because basically you are even before you back up your wallet, it's actually ready. So your wallet is ready, even on the let's backup screen, right? So you could have say your wallet is ready, and beneath that two options like back it up, or make it initial deposit, or go to wallet. So this could be kind of the end. And we leave it to the user which of these three ways they want to go.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Would it create kind of a choice between creating the first transaction or creating a backup? Like we want in the best practice, we want user to do both, not both, but first they should back up their wallet so that they are safe, that it's not gonna lose its information. Now, if we are gonna put those two options on the same page, it might be like the first one is backupping, which is important, and the second one is create a transaction so that you can get familiar. These two doesn't seem to have equal priorities. So putting them on an equal level of options, I don't think would be optimum idea.
Okay. Well, I'm glad. Sorry, we have 4 minutes left on this call. This seems like you're both on the same page, that these are valid options that we should have. It's really just a matter of one screen, two screen. How explicit are they? Right.
Just one more question, Harold. Like before the block download is completed, can somebody transfer money to my wallet?
Well, of course. That's the way Bitcoin works.
No, I was confirming because if we are gonna keep the last create first transaction screen and say it's not possible to do that before the IBD is completed, then it might create some confusion. So okay, I was just confirming for that reason. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's true. That initial deposit screen, when there's a QR code, it might say, even if you deposit now, it will not be visible until.
Yes. Because so that it doesn't create kind of people think that they might have lost their money.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Okay, that makes sense. And then real quick, the multi-sig. That is the most complex one out of them.
Oh, we are going to try for
Can we just really quick, really quick? I mean, obviously we have to explain people, have your hardware wallets, whatever stuff ready. Are there any limits in the amount of keys? Should I be able to create a hardware wallet with this just being the coordinator? I mean, what are the options here?
Technically, there is a limit to the keys, and that would be, if there's enough keys where the transaction takes up an entire block, then you probably don't want to do that. But other than that,
or something.
Yeah, and then there's limitations on any specific hardware with the amount of keys. Like, so if a transaction increases in size with people signing keys, certain hardware wallets won't be able to sign because they can't put that into their memory. So there's intricate limits like that. But if a user is doing a very large multi-sig, it'll have to be on them to know what they're doing, right?
I mean, the application could always warn them, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Some threshold where we
also-
would say, "Are you sure?"
Are you sure?
Yes.
50?
I'm a highly confident person.
We don't believe
too
you.
many keys, not your kind.
Yeah. Okay, so we choose how many keys total, we choose how many should be required to sign, and then for every key that we chose, we have to either paste it in, right? Or what are the options here?
Yeah. So you can continue to paste them in to create the wallet. But I have to make sure of that. I kind of have to go over that again.
Yeah.
And would we have this additional screen here as well, which we have? This is about the "Are you sure?" about when you encrypt your wallet.
Probably. Actually,
I grabbed it in from the other one. It would be here, right? In between these two.
related question that I think we'll get to your point is, so you're generating a key that will be part of this wallet, right? And then you're grabbing keys from other people and other devices. Is there one wallet that file that includes both the key you generated and the coordination info from the multi-sig, or how is that stored?
What?
So you have two things. You have your key you generated, that you use for signing, and then you have the coordination info, which is all of the keys from all of the participants.
Yeah.
And how they fit together. Is that in the same wallet.dat file?
Yes, it would be in the same wallet.dat file. Because so how we're going to keep track of the coins that can be spent is encumbered by these other keys, right? And so and creating a transaction has to be signed by these other keys. Yeah, it's in the same wallet file.
Okay.
Actually, it's a descriptor. So the descriptor lists these keys. Yeah.
Okay. So Mo, that means yes, we can encrypt that with a password.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, same thing applies. It's one file that you're basically storing, and that file can be encrypted with a password. And so the same password stuff applies.
So we do the same password warning screens as per the signals, the regular flow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just add a quick note in there. Same password logic.
Also, these are private keys, right? That we are gonna copy or do stuff that then
No, it's not private. People aren't giving out private keys to one another.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Got it. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yashraj, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, sorry. That was kind of by mistake, but I was also about to say that those aren't private keys that in a multi-sig.
I misjudged it for a second.
Well, Joshua, we can do a multi-sig where you give me your private keys. No problem.
Okay, sure.
Okay, and then I mean, this screen just gets repeated as many times as keys that you chose. So if you said there will be 3 keys, you're going to see this screen 3 times. And this is where potentially we could add in a graphic like what Gene recommended with like 3 circles, and you fill in those 3 circles.
Christoph, you like took us up this hill at the very end, and so to kind of put it out there and make this hill steeper, this is going to get really complicated because in multi-sigs people can specify the change addresses, and so it's like another layer to complexity in the multi-sig. But I will go over all of the details with the core wallet and what is needed. And so I'll write it up and send it on Slack so that you guys know. But this can get really, really complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, but it seems like we just need to have another call on this. But it seems
That's
like,
why I was thinking. That's why I was thinking in terms about easy, medium, hard difficulty.
yeah. And it seems like in terms of what we did today, all of these screens here, we can individually or together or separate asynchronously somehow, take them and create kind of a nice flow and start, adding in more copy, figuring out what the buttons should be and all of this stuff. We should be able to move forward to a good point, right?
Yeah.
And then we just need to do more calls around multi-sig and the send stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, the multi-sig will need a few calls.
Yeah. And there's a lot of
I just
copywriting
want
in
to
here.
add one. Yes. Christoph, I just have to add one design decision that you took for the multisig. Like you provided the option as what do you want to select how many key multisig you want to create. So it was like a tab kind of option. First 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And the second one was how many keys should be there to sign a transaction. So like it would be n minus one number of options. So like for example, somebody go and select in the other key in the other option in the number of keys to be equals to say 10, then are we going to create 9 tabs below it, or would that, because that seems to get quite messy quite soon. So tab showing number of keys as a tab would not work, I think.
Yeah, we can figure that out. I mean, there could be, you could have another
Other.
option
Yeah.
here.
But what about a kind of scrollable key option, maybe like scroll the key how many keys you want, something like that.
Yeah, you could put a slider or something else in there. I just
Yeah,
like
slider.
I just like these big simple buttons like bam, bam, and then if we get into scaling issues, let's call them, then yeah, you might need a different. You could
Yes.
think of something different where let's say, I mean, what's a common? How many people have 9?
No, very few people, but still, like since
Yeah,
there
it
is no
should
upper
support
limit
that.
on how many keys, so
Yeah.
it might get quite cumbersome. That's why I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's where we can try to make something custom that very few people then might end up using, or have something like this. Just add this other up after, let's say, 5 or so, and then that would people can just enter whatever they want.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah, I think here we just have to try a couple of different UI patterns to see what kind of sticks.
Oh, oof. Can there be that many keys? 1 lakh keys.
It's the world's global wallet, 8 billion keys.
Yeah, we have a slider from that
Christoph,
code that goes onto Are You Nuts?
By the way, real quick, Jitsi will stop the recording here in a minute. Thanks for all who listened, and we're just gonna keep or tuned in. We're just gonna keep talking here. I'm just referencing the YouTube people if anybody actually makes it to the end of these.
Christoph, I was
Thank
just
you guys
looking.
for joining us for this journey.
Yeah, sorry, Mo.
Continue. I was just saying.
I was looking in the original user flow, and then we had an option for a test transaction. I was just wondering, did we discuss that already? That there would be an option to do a test transaction.
Yes, that's at the end.
Yeah, would we do that all the way? So after creating wallet, we would then have maybe another screen for test.
I mean, see, the thing is, after wallet's ready,
Yeah.
it's empty. You can't do anything. The first thing you need to do is deposit Bitcoin anyways. So
Yeah.
for a user, it's just a question: do you just start using it without worrying about anything? You're just like happy, or do you make one small initial test deposit?
Yeah.
Before and then see if someone takes it or dusts your wallet or whatever. I don't know what things can happen. Like some scammers, like Hebasta keeps saying, people are very creative with scamming people. So maybe asking people to go through this initial test deposit might save a few people from loss or so.
Yeah.
How
I mean,
do you feel about that?
Yeah, Yashraj, do you want to say something?
Yeah, we can always receive it. Like we can always receive funds from someone else.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, just need to create an address, send it to whoever, and you might want to give it to someone else, so you might do your own deposit. I've definitely done this when setting up wallets. I mean, I don't do this for like Lightning wallets where I'm just going to have €1 on it or so, but for more serious wallets, I go through these steps as well. I think it's good practice.
Christoph, I'm having some doubts about should we even keep this create first transaction screen, because say I am a new user, first time working with a blockchain based currency. Now there is a kind of a disclaimer below it. Till the IBT is done, you would not be shown, you would not be able to see the transaction about the money that you have received in a wallet.
Mhm.
But now say the block download takes about say a day. Now somebody has paid like $100 to his own wallet, but now that value is not showing till the IBD is completed. So that might create some kind of paranoia in some users, I think.